G'day everybody. We're approaching the Waterview Tunnel. It's only been open for a few hours. We're currently heading towards Waterview, just passing the old Waterview off-ramp, the old Mauro Street off-ramp there. So this is now the new motorway. Just passing the second OHD site they've got for detecting overheight vehicles. Should obviously be coming up on this screen above us. Passing under Mauro Street now. Barrier arm there, just blocking the on-ramp. Quite a unique barrier arm installation there. Signage telling you to get in the right lanes now before you enter the tunnel. Certainly are telling you that there's no lane changes inside the tunnel. Interesting that the VMSs have white text even at night. Obviously they've made the decision to do that there. Another speed camera just as you approach, and we're now in the tunnel proper. There's average speed cameras in this tunnel. We're just driving past the first set now. It's a first for New Zealand. Signage telling us to turn the headlights on. We're at Deluge Zone 13 so far in the northbound tube. Not too much traffic yet, but I'm sure that'll build later in the day today. Jet fans aren't really doing a lot at the moment. Some PA speakers, cameras in the ceiling, etc. Signage as well. Signage telling us to keep a safe distance. Very flat, this bottom bit of the tube here. Next set of speed cameras just going underneath now. We're into our rise going up the hill, out towards Waterview. Heading up the rise now. We're coming under our last set of speed cameras now, and exiting at the portal. Out on the Waterview side, we're going to take the another speed camera out here too, and looks like there's plate recognition above the lanes out here as well. We're heading up and now heading towards Western Springs. Amazing travel time improvement here compared to the old local roads. This will make a significant improvement to Auckland's traffic. So on the northwest proper, not very happy here that they've decided to continue with the this used to be a 100km/h section of road. They've reduced it to 80 kilometres an hour. I'm hoping that might be reviewed at some point. It's been a temporary 80 zone during the construction, but obviously someone's decided to maintain it at 80 permanently. This time of night, my belief is it's 80 might be good in the middle of the day, but this time of night there's no reason you couldn't do 100k an hour along here quite safely. but I'm no traffic engineer, but it's just my thoughts. Beautiful that we've now got 4 lanes across here. This has been widened, a 5th lane for the St Luke's Road exit, etc, etc. So we're going to get off at St Luke's Road, loop on round, and go and see what we find in the tunnel heading the other way. Just passing MOTAT here, the Museum of Transport and Technology, well-known Auckland landmark. Some good childhood memories there. One of the criticisms of this tunnel is the Great North Interchange. There's no on-ramps and off-ramps there. One thing just we might note here, to our left there's a lane that's closed at the moment to allow traffic exiting the motorway just ahead of us there to have its own lane. The intentions, as I understand it, are to reduce that to emerge from the motorway once the traffic flows are heading through the tunnel, which is more likely to happen once the tunnel's been open for some period of time. Just heading back northwest bound on the northwestern motorway towards Henderson, and we're going to take the tunnel exit and go through the tunnel proper. Passing the old Great North Road exit, still on the old motorway here. Coming up to the tunnel entrance here. Changeable message signs above us. That South Manukau exit only sign can twist around and say tunnel closed. It's the position it's been in for quite some time, in the closed position. Coming up to some ramp signals here as well. Sign is telling us that there's no lane changing in the tunnel. The complex on our left hand side is where the tunnel incident response and everything's based. Barrier arms here, stop on red signal signs, etc. And we're heading into the tunnel proper. Picking the left lane this time, passing another set of speed cameras. Heading down into the flat section of the tunnel now. And we're down on the flat. A number of these patrons might not be aware that there's average speed cameras in the tunnel. And cameras are working, they're going to get tickets. First installation of average speed cameras in New Zealand. Not actually sure if they're legislated yet, or whether that's coming in a short while, but certainly the technology's installed, that's for sure. Passing zone 37, 36 at the moment. into our recline again to head out the other side. Passing our last set of speed cameras here. I think I must have missed the middle set earlier. That's okay. So a crossover there, presumably for the emergency vehicles to use. Now that we're back out this side, we can see the impressive bridge above us. So that was a trip through Waterview Tunnel, another speed camera here. Certainly no shortage of speed cameras, that's for sure. We're going to exit Maoro Street. Double back round. It's interesting, there's a couple of yellow lights on the overheight detection pole that I saw as I drove past. I'm not entirely sure what they're there for. Very interesting too that the off-ramp here has a stop sign instead of a give way turning left. Very, very uncommon to see a off-ramp in Auckland with a stop sign. In fact, I can't think of one off the top of my head immediately. I'm sure there will be another one, but almost always they're developed with visibility for a give way as opposed to a stop. I would imagine today there'll be much higher traffic volumes exiting the tunnel here and getting straight back on. That wouldn't be, you know, where I'm in a queue of people behind me and people in front of me doing that. While people are just looking at the tunnel, that'll certainly be something that's going on. But normal traffic flows, unless you made a wrong turn, you would be highly unlikely to go back in the exact same direction that you came from. Certainly the the intersection's not really able to cope with a large queue. Just heading down the on-ramp again. So I didn't actually see an overheight sensor on the on-ramp, but I'm not quite sure what the lights are for on the overheight detection there, but they must be there for a reason. This time when we exit the tunnel, we're going to take the... Better slow down here actually, I'm creeping up above that 80 just ever so slightly. We're going to take the westbound ramp this time. Heading back into the tunnel. Feels very odd to see a sign saying turn headlights on at night when your headlights are already on. I'm not actually so sure I agree with it's probably about 50% of the tunnels I've seen worldwide request you to turn your headlights on when you are driving in the tunnel, even during the day. Not sure if I agree with that or I don't. It does have some advantages in terms of safety, but it also has a distraction factor that everyone drives into the tunnel, sees the sign, and they then turn their lights on, which can dazzle or interrupt and distract the driver in front of them. So there's obviously pros and cons to that. We're on the flat section of the tunnel again. coming under this next set of speed cameras again. On our left hand side up on the concrete wall, you can see a black cable that runs the length of the tunnel. It's called a leaky feeder. It's a coaxial cable with deliberately designed to leak signals, and that provides radio communication and cell phone coverage, etc., etc., of which I have full coverage on my mobile. So now that we're exiting the tunnel again, we're this time going to take the northbound exit, which we're doing now. We'll head over to Rosebank Road. There's very brilliant lanes here, nice wide carriageway here. This is very much improved from how the motorway causeway was here several years ago. Separate to the Waterview Tunnel project, there's been a project. You can see some containers and stuff to our right hand side. Still some other works that are going on to finish that, but largely it's finished. I suspect that you'll find there's a significant number of people that are going to do what I'm doing, and I suspect the attenuator truck in front of us is going to do as well. And that's come through the tunnel because they've come from the airport direction, but they actually need to get to Point Chev or the Great North Road area. They're likely to head through the tunnel, head here to the Rosebank Road exit or the Western Springs exit. Probably depends on the time of day and what the traffic flows are doing, and then perform a U-turn and jump straight back on the motorway so they can then exit at Great North Road. There's a roundabout up ahead which I'm going to make a turn at. It'll be very interesting to see if this attenuator is doing the same thing, but what it may cause is a number of people to be U-turning here in this section of road, which isn't the safest thing to do. So I'm hoping that they all head out to this roundabout up here to make the turn. As I expected, the attenuator is doing that. This is the Well-Connected Alliance the traffic response vehicle. The tunnel has got dedicated attenuators and response teams that are on site, dedicated to the tunnel to respond at all times. This section of the motorway is a 100km/h limit here until you hit the variable speed area where it slows down to 80. As I said earlier, I'm really hoping that someone reconsiders that decision and ups the northwestern proper to 100, but we'll see if that happens. Might pay for the public to campaign to the authorities to have that reviewed. Signage telling us that dangerous goods are prohibited, and as I said, this is the start of our variable speed zone here, and we're back to our 80km/h limit. changeable message signs above us here. I don't know if these can display overheight warnings and that sort of thing, but certainly they can display that the tunnel's closed. We've been seeing that for quite a long time. Not a fan of the streetlight pole here that obscures the green motorway sign that we just passed. Normally they try and position them so that the streetlight doesn't obscure them. So we're into our final approach ramp now. This is the last ramp that we hadn't used, so we're heading into the tunnel again. Once again, another changeable message sign, overheight detectors, up next to us there. At least the ramp signals are off, I suppose. I would imagine later on today, when they've got queues that they need to prevent from entering the tunnel, I would imagine that they'll be wanting to keep them running to make sure we don't get excessive queues in the tunnel. So passing our barrier arms and ramp signals again. Quite a significant portal building. 88 deluge zones on this side of the tunnel. Here's our first set of speed cameras again. Signage is quite consistent with the turn headlights on message just after you've entered. Here's our next set of speed cameras. The next set is quite close together. They're obviously wanting to catch people speeding down that hill. The cross passages here are, I mean, this isn't uncommon for tunnels, but are very close to the live lanes. You can hope that if there is an incident in the other tunnel, for those of you that aren't aware of how dual bore tunnel system with cross passages works, every 300 metres we have a cross passage. Sorry, every 150 metres, I stand corrected, we have a cross passage that links the two tunnels together. What that cross passage means is that if we get a fire or an incident in this tunnel that requires people to abandon their vehicles and evacuate, the vehicles in front of the incident can just drive on through. Vehicles are prevented from entering both tunnels. The vehicles that are in the safe and unaffected tunnel will just drive out, and it will then be completely empty, and the public can evacuate into the safe tunnel, which is now empty and closed to traffic, so that they can safely make their way into the other tunnel. You would hope that the operators and systems wouldn't tell people to evacuate until the other side of the road has been shut down, so there's not live traffic. Or you might request them in an emergency to wait inside the cross passage, but they're not particularly big cross passages here, so it wouldn't hold that many people in a cross passage. So we're back at the Mauro Street end of the tunnel now, and that basically completes our look at the tunnels. I wonder if anyone today will be trying to make a U-turn at that section we just passed there. We'll have to see. But nonetheless, that excuse my coughing, people. Haven't been that well, but that completes our trip, really. And hope you enjoyed watching this video as we exit again at Mauro Street. And if you've got any questions, post some comments. We can do our best to answer those questions for you. And thanks very much, folks. We'll catch you later.